fix my live stream. So I'm gonna just get right to the point. This is a live stream about Canaanland Moors going up against Natalie Burrow, who has her YouTube channel called NatalieLawyerChick. Excuse me. I'm subscribed to NatalieLawyerChick. She has a thing called Chicklets. I consider myself a chicken hawk or chickster. Shout out Natalie. Which is why I'm saying fair use, because I'm going to describe to y'all just how disrespectful the fucking Moors really, the moronics really are towards their own people, and get mad when somebody say something about it.
Peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the people in the chat jumping in to hopefully learn something today.
Jesus Christ, man, that shit gets annoying to hear that. The term is Assalamu alaikum, stupid.
Natalie Burrell. We're also here with myself, Brother Fujo L, their brother Jamal Bey, and Brother Yusuf L as well on the stream. I know you said that you had an hour, so we wanted to let you get whatever you have to get out as far as the myths based on your busted video that you had uploaded, I think, yesterday, and see if we can assist you in getting some questions answered with regard to all that.
So do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're the guest, so sure.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so first of all, I see in your title.
Hold on, let me go back.
And see if we can assist you in getting some questions answered. Well, their brother Jamal Bey and brother Yusuf L as well.
Now let me show y'all something. Did you hear what he said? It's a debate between him and Natalie, right? So he said he had brother Jamal Bey and Matadi L. But look, I'm gonna show you, because this is from his channel, Fair Use. At the end, toward the end of the debate, why is it 4 motherfuckers at the end of the debate? Can y'all see it? It's supposed to be, why is it always when you debate somebody, Canaanland, you got about 6 motherfuckers for one person and then 10 more in case they fail? Look, this dude came in at the end, toward the end of the debate. And I don't see you nowhere trying to get this motherfucker out of prison right now. That your stupid science is going to cost him probably 40-something years away from his children. For the shit that they pulled up in motherfucking, what's it called? Massachusetts. All y'all ganged up on this sister. And you talk about peace, love, truth, and righteousness. Your whole philosophy is fed on lies since 1913. Shut the fuck up. Fair use, Natalie.
Even that has limitations on it. That's
Hold on.
based on
Let's go.
everyone. Or
Now, the whole situation is she made a video called Busted, a more talking about some Supreme Court cases and trying to say that they're wrong for when the Moors have the right to travel, which they do not want to follow the laws of the road. So she said they're wrong. Canaanland said, I'm going to debunk your video. They got into whatever talk that they had, and she decided, okay, I'll come on and talk to you about it, a proper debate, and here we are. Supposed to be her and him, but he got 3 other niggas on the fucking side.
Rights that were not privileges, and basically arguing that those
Fair
cases
use.
proved his point. In particular with the right to travel and the privilege to drive. And so I looked at the cases that he talked about, and the cases did not talk about the rights that he was referring to, which was the right to travel, and did not apply to what he was talking about. And so I found cases that were talking about what he was talking about, and all of them unanimously said that there is a right to travel, but there is no fundamental right to drive. So that's it, basically. That was the point of the video.
Okay, no, when you say right to travel, you do understand that that is a right that comes with the liberties that everybody has a right to.
Sure.
It's not a separate thing that he's talking about. When he says right to travel, he's speaking about a right that everybody who's a national of this land or who's Aboriginal and indigenous to this land has.
National to this land or Aboriginal and indigenous to this land? What the fuck are you Moors? Are you Aboriginal? Are you indigenous? Are you a national? What the hell are you? She's sitting there with a straight confused look on her face like, what the French toast are you talking about? What in the, I know you done lost your mind, are you saying?
Has a right to do.
No, so I disagree with your premise because, first of all, you're.
By the way, she's a defense attorney. She's been a defense attorney for almost 11, 12 years. She has a proper license to practice. What are you Moors?
You're yourself limiting that right by saying that everyone who's a national of this land or everyone who's indigenous or Aboriginal to this land has a right to travel. That's it. Everyone who's in the United States has a right to travel, right? And you don't have to be a national to the land or indigenous. As long as you're present in the country, you are subject to the country's laws.
And that's how it is here in Ethiopia. Because even though I am, from America, African American, and I'm at home here, this is the motherland. Just because I have citizenship in America does not mean that makes me off limits to the laws in this land. If I violate a law here, they'll throw my black ass in jail just like anybody else. They let me through them gates, so I'm subject to the laws in this land. Which means if I get caught driving without a license, they can lock me up. That's how that works. That shit is the same in the United States and it's the same here. Fucking dumbasses. Continue, Mrs. Burrow.
As far as the right to travel is concerned, your right to travel, although it's a right that's given to you, is always subject to limitations, just like every single right is subject to limitations. The right to free speech, the right to bear arms, the right to congregate with other people, freedom of religion, even that has limitations on it that's placed on everyone. The right to conduct commerce, all of those things have limitations on them. And so what the case law is basically saying is that even though you have a right to travel, you don't have an automatic right to operate a motor vehicle, which is only one form of traveling, right? That is a
Go to the fucking DMV and they'll tell you right in the DMV book to get your learner's permit.
privilege that the
You don't need no lawyer or no sovereign citizen to tell you that shit. It's right there in the fucking DMV. How many kids then got locked the fuck up for joyriding in somebody else's car because they ain't got a license? But they had a right to travel.
The state gives you. And you could walk, you could crawl, you could get in a boat and go from point A to point B. But if you want to operate a motor vehicle, get behind the wheel of a car or an automobile or a conveyance and put the thing in drive, put your foot down on the pedal, and go, then you need to be licensed by a state. That's just what it is. And courts have again and again and again recognized that up to the Supreme Court and the federal level. And there is no case saying that driver's licenses or a DMV or an MVA in any way restricts someone's right to travel. You have a right to travel. You don't have a right to operate a motor vehicle, a boat, or an airplane without regulation.
Facts.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think, from based on what you're saying, the actual physical act of getting behind the wheel and the commercial status of driving are being intertwined.
There's no commercial status of driving when it comes to a private individual operating a motor vehicle. So again, I reject the premise of your question. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you, whatever you want to call yourself, want to operate a motor vehicle, move a car, whatever, no, they're not. Under the law, no, they're not. Okay, no, real quick.
See what I mean? Gotta interrupt her. They have to interrupt it. Now the disrespect starts.
Real quick, there's nothing to object to. We're not. Hold on.
Shut the fuck up, Jamal.
I was still talking. So if you.
I know, but I know. Then be quiet.
You just said that no, it's not.
Listen to
You
this
just
fool.
said that no, it's not. But you haven't provided any laws to back that up.
The definition of traffic deals with commerce. So
No.
if driving mentions traffic and motor vehicles mentions traffic, and traffic is commerce, then when you drive, you're absolutely within a commercial capacity, which of course legislators have the right to regulate because legislators have the right to regulate commerce. But if you're not operating within a commercial capacity, then they have no right to regulate.
Did these niggas ever finish high school? Legislators and all that. I've never heard this shit about no legislative, judicial, none of that shit. Half the time I'll be hearing them say, the last time I heard them more say anything about legislative, they said that about the president. The president is not the true legislative of it. The president operates under the branch of the executive, stupid.
Regulate anything that you do.
Cite the case law that says that.
All right, give me a few seconds.
Go right ahead.
No, the other part with regard to that.
She's sitting there with a straight smile on her face too when they started to get their information. She just went. Shout out to NatalieLawyerChick, yo.
That right to travel is based on what you're traveling in. So, like you said, if the state is saying getting in a motor vehicle, getting in a truck, getting in a bus, getting in.
Listen to him. He trying to find words to trap her and it ain't gonna work. She's a fucking lawyer. They're trained for shit like this. The Moors are only good to word play and history twist.
Whatever has to be licensed, right?
Yeah.
How does a state, which is a foreign European corporation, have
These motherfuckers, and you wonder why so many black men that have followed the Moorish science temple have been locked up.
Jurisdiction in land that was here before the state. Is that because they conquered indigenous
You're not indigenous, nigga.
people, or is that because they naturally have that right?
Cite to me a case, law, or regulation that says that a state is a foreign European corporation.
Ooh. Cite to me a law that that states and all that is foreign European. They can't do it. Moors can't do it.
Well, all states have a founding date, right? And a charter, right?
Cite to me a case, law, or regulation that says that a state is a foreign European corporation. That a state, one of the 50.
That's twice she asked. And see how he answered the question with a question? That's twice she said it. Cite to me the law that says these states are a foreign European corporation. Watch.
50 states of the United States.
Why would the foreign European
Answering a fucking question with a question.
corporation colonists create a law that's gonna limit their capacity to continue violating people's rights?
So,
Dude, we all know what Americus Vespucius and Cristobal Colon, aka Christopher Columbus, did. Okay? But stop twisting history. And stop trying to claim a people that do not claim you.
then you're conceding that there is no law. That's that.
All y'all niggas' grandma got y'all fucked up.
I'm conceding that the law is the Constitution, but the Constitution is a national constitution, not the state
The law is not the fucking Constitution!
constitution.
So-
Take that fez off your head, man. Y'all got some coke in this shit or something.
Okay. Fair enough. Go ahead, finish.
So if the supreme law of the land is the Constitution, and the supreme law of the land says that the Constitution is that law, anybody who creates law after that is practicing color of law, because there should be just
What the fuck are you talking about?
going by the supreme law of the land.
Okay, so you then, let me understand this correctly. You accept that the United States Constitution is valid, that it has the force of law.
The United States Constitution for the Republic,
The United States Constitution,
7 articles, 10 Bill of Rights.
Know what? Hold on. Hold on. Y'all gonna make me Kevin Samuels, you stupid asses. Where's that fucking slap? Here we go.
oh!
Yeah, do that again.
Oh!
Again.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
Carbon, what the fuck are you talking about?
The organic constitution that founded
Stop saying the same dumb shit. She is looking. She looks so dumbfounded, like, what are y'all talking about? She's like, what are you talking about?
So then you don't accept the Constitution in its whole entirety.
When you say its whole entirety, are you meaning the amendments after 10?
Just cannot answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Like the ones that abolished slavery, for example. You don't accept any of that.
No, because I was never a slave. I was always.
You won't see a contradiction. Watch. Later on in the video, he gonna make a contradiction. Watch.
In this land, I'm indigenous.
You're not Native American, stupid.
I never came here on this nation.
Okay.
You failed Rastafarians have been like Cujo L. Y'all been smoking too much ganja. Cause y'all, oh my lord. That's why I'm glad Rastafarians don't mess with Moors. They even tell it. There's a video of an elder Rastafarian that talks about the Moors, and he says the Moors are traitors. The ones that want to claim black Moors, they're the biggest traitors. A Rastafarian said that. There's a reason why Cujo L is a. Oh, I've been Rastafari, I've been Hotep. I know, because you just cooned all the way. Dumbass.
Can I
Just yes, but let me just finish addressing his point. I think that, first of all, the Constitution, which you accept in part but reject in part.
It's a contradiction. Either you accept it or you don't.
Does lay out how the United States is to be formed with the separate states, right? And the recognition of those states, and then the delegation of powers between those states. And if you accept up to that point, with the delegation of powers between those states, right, the separation of the federal and state powers, then you recognize that states are given the authority to issue driver's licenses, or not, they could decide not to, but they've all decided to do that, to issue driver's licenses.
Did you hear that, morons? They decided to all do that. They don't have to, but they all decided to do it. Which means if you don't have a driver's license when they pull you over, you can get a ticket, or more likely they'll put your dumb behind in prison for a few hours. And if you, as some of you have known, there have been simple Moors that could have just paid off a simple $100 ticket that have threatened the judge and now got 10 years behind the rock. All because you want to follow some stupid ideology. When you read the real Constitution, all the states have said you need a driver's license to operate a vehicle. The fuck does the right to travel have to do with anything? You can travel anywhere you want, but if you're going to operate things that do traveling, plane, bus, car, truck, motorcycle, you need them L's. Okay? Getting people locked up for nothing.
Or commercial truck driver's licenses, which is always interesting. You guys don't talk about CDLs like that. They do recognize a difference between the private operation of a motor vehicle and the commercial operation of any other type of vehicle, like a truck that would require a CDL license.
You see, I never noticed that. This is my umpteenth time watching this, and I finally caught it. She said, "Yeah, the Moors don't talk about CDLs, commercial truck, the license that the trucks have. You don't talk about them, but you still need a license to drive a truck too."
That's right. So the Constitution recognizes the state's authority to regulate someone's ability to operate a motor vehicle. So if you accept the Constitution, although you're limited in what you accept, but if you accept the Constitution, which I think up to the 10th Amendment does deal with the delegation of powers to the state, then you in turn must accept that the Constitution gives the states the authority to regulate how someone is able to operate a motor vehicle. And then I'll submit to Jamal's question.
I was provided the case law where it stated that when you're traveling, you're not operating in a commercial capacity. Therefore, the state's not has no authority to regulate what you're doing.
Go.
And then when you're driving, whether it be a personal truck, car, van, it doesn't matter what it is. When you're driving, then you're subject to commercial regulations. And here's the case law: is Bud versus New York, 143.
By the way, Jamal has a big habit of citing cases that have no meaning, or as he did when he got caught up in Massachusetts, he said Dale Weber versus Hawaii, and that case is still going on right now. You're trying to cite a case to get you out of something that hasn't even, that just moved into a further court case hearing. It's not even, it's just getting, it's not even, it's still going on. Why would you name a case that's still going on? In other cases that are like way back yonder when there were barely even any cars. It makes no sense. That's why this man now is facing, from all them gun charges, he's facing damn near probably 40 years.
U.S. 517. It states, when therefore one devotes his property to a use in which the public have an interest, which would be commerce, he in effect grants the public, which would be the state, an interest in that use. It must submit to be controlled by the public, which would be the state, for the common good, which means he submits to the commercial regulations to the extent of the interest that he has thus created. So if I get my car and advertise that I'm a taxi, then I have to conduct myself a certain way, and I have to be regulated by, the rules of commerce. But if I just go in my car and I go to the store, then no one can regulate me. And in referencing Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, it states that a driver.
What's going on, Jason?
So again, that's the status is employed. So whether you be self-employed or working for someone else, a driver is subject to commercial capacity. When you read the definition of traveler, it mentions nothing about commerce.
So you understand that Black's Law Dictionary doesn't have the force of law, right?
They main favorite book, Black Law Dictionary. Black Law Dictionary. She just said it. Ain't got no force of law.
It's just a
What do
dictionary.
you mean by that?
It's just the key word, dictionary. It's just a fucking dictionary. So why are you taking a court case that has no meaning and then taking, a book that is just a book to tell you what something means? It's just a dictionary that helps you with law terms. Other than that, it's just a French toast dictionary. That's all.
It doesn't have the force of law.
Exactly, Jason. And yeah, it has no force of law.
So, for example, if you were to
Wait,
enter...
before you go into that, I read Bud versus
Just gotta cut her off.
New York.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into Bud versus New York, but I'm just taking you...
Exactly. Court decisions are more important than dictionary terms. Like, what is a dictionary term going to do to save you from being locked up for life? Like, I forget what they did with Bill Cosby, but he was released because of basically what I would call a misdemeanor. I mean, not misdemeanor, a mistrial, basically, from my point of view, because I'm not too technical with law terms, but I'll just call it a simple mistrial. Like, he agreed to do something about the people that accused him, and then I don't know. That's really complicated. Case precedents is more important as well. Of course, proceedings. I'm sorry. My apologies. Case precedents. Of course, it's more important. What does a goddamn dictionary have to do with anything in a court case? Nothing.
in reverse turn, basically.
Wait.
It mentions nothing about commerce.
So you understand that Black's Law Dictionary doesn't have the force of law, right? It's just a
What do you
dictionary.
mean by that?
It doesn't have the force of law. So, for example, if you were to enter...
Before you go into that, I read Bud versus New York.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into Bud versus New York, but I'm just taking you in reverse turn, basically.
Okay.
And I think that is you conceding that it doesn't have the force of law. It's just a dictionary.
Oh, no, I understand that.
Oh no, you're conceding. You just don't realize it.
So, Bud versus New York, 143 U.S. 517, is an 1893 case.
1893 case ain't got nothing to do with today. Yeah, the only thing it literally does is define some terms. That's it. That's what, and like she's saying right now, the 1893 case, Bud versus New York, ain't got nothing to do with today. That's a case basically like almost 3 centuries ago.
1893 is when it was decided by the Supreme Court. And let's see here. The automobile was invented in 1885.
Automobile invented in 1885. So how the hell would you have a whole bunch of car cases to pull from if in 1885, 1893, that's 8 years the automobile has been around, and it ain't too many at that time that's been out like that. So how can you have so many?
So we are citing an 1893 case to do with the right to drive.
Yeah, craziness. Exactly.
But the
No,
word,
the right to travel.
the right to travel? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
no rights to travel.
No, the right to travel. This is basically a case. No, she's basically said it correctly, what it really is. With your word playing asses. It's really the right to drive, not travel. Anybody can travel. I just traveled home. I just traveled home. I didn't need a license. What I needed was a passport, COVID test, and you know what? Hold on. This is why I say this might be bullshit. Because in order for me to travel to get home, I had to have a COVID test. I had to send it off to Global Health or Global Highmark, I think it's called. I had to get my ticket. I had to make sure I had my passport, or I wasn't going any fucking where. Stupid. So even traveling can be kind of limited. Because if that was the case, then when COVID broke out, everybody should be able to travel from state to state. Forget traveling out the country. We couldn't even travel state to state without people pulling us over saying, yo, why you not in the house? Dummies.
Driving is a privilege.
right. So, but okay. So what is your definition of traveling by way of automobile? What do you call that?
Traveling is not within a commercial capacity, so that's going from point A to point B without being for hire, without subject
You can just work.
yourself to the public, with of course respect for safety.
You can ride a bicycle. You can use a skateboard. You can jump in somebody else's car. That's licensed. To get to point A to point B. To get from point A to point B. You do not need... When you're operating those... I can't.
Concerns like not operating your motor vehicle or whatever you want to call it, with negligence, not going on the sidewalk, and of course yielding to all, precautionary measures such as stop signs and things like that. So that's not for hire, that's not subject to commerce.
So what is it? Okay. So what does it mean when you travel by way of automobile? What is that?
Traveling.
You
it's just traveling.
Yes, because it's not for hire. Yes.
Okay.
Y'all ever wonder why so many Moors get their cars towed, locked up, everything? What's up, Montel? Do you...
So.
Once you're not engaging in commerce, then it's not licensable.
Okay, so you're telling me that the case Bud v. People doesn't have to do with driving, which really wasn't a common thing in 1893. It has to do with traveling, right?
No, that's not what I said.
What does it have to do with then?
French toast. You just... If you just been saying for the last 15 minutes about traveling. Now you don't say it has nothing to do with traveling. I gotta pee. I'll be right back. This is stupid. I fucking can't. Got to be the dumbest motherfuckers ever in history. The dumbest. I'm back. Give me a minute, let me dry my hands. Yo. This is... Wow. He literally been arguing with this lady for, according to this video, for 16 minutes. About, no, travel. Now she says about the right to travel. Now he says, no, I didn't say traveling. This has got to be this. Moors are like some of the most stupid of all stupidity. Of stupidome. I'm fucking real, man. I did kind of angrily pee too. I did. I didn't even go first. Shit hurt too. Angrily pee. That shit hurt. Nah, I'm fucking around with you, man. I'm fucking around. But nah, I'm just in there like, wow. I can't. You just contradict it. Every time. And then they wonder why they lose debates. For example, there's one more going to try to talk about Dr. Bean going to say, well, we did this, we did that. Lied right in Dr. Bean's face at the debate that this Moore was having against Seti. I forget his name. And Seti said, motherfucker, not only Dr. Ben teach me, Dr. Ben right there in his face. I ain't gonna let you lie right in his face. Dr. Ben sitting there shaking his head at that dude like, wow, you gonna lie on me? Moors do it to themselves every time.
I was stating that the difference between driving and traveling is that driving is operating your car or whatever it is you're behind the wheel.
Then what the fuck are you crying about? Commercial capacity. It's always wordplay. Commercial capacity. The fucking law says if you operate a motor vehicle without a license, you are subject to penalization and jail time. Just go read the driver's permit book. Frustration B. Montel just came in and glad you're streaming. Oh, thanks a lot, brother. Yeah, Jason, probably a frustration B. And then another thing they do, all they do is that frustrates me is they just repeat the same stuff over and over. What the hell did I just do? I hope I didn't do nothing stupid. This is my first live stream ever. And it's already been, yeah! They do it all the time. Answer the same thing over and over. I mean, say the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's been answered dozens of times and debunked millions and millions of times. They do it every fucking single debate, every video. It's like, why are y'all even following these people? So I'm guessing the Moors are getting a bad rep. They're not even really Moors. Like a sovereign of any race on a traffic stop is going to ask if I am detained or I am free to go. And they're going to ask something else asinine, whether they are under custodial arrest. I don't even know what the fuck custodial arrest means. I don't even know what that means. Like, I gotta research all this stupid stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, when you under arrest, when the police say you under arrest, you under arrest. So these Moors, they do all kind of stupid stuff, and then they wonder why they getting their windows busted open, screaming police brutality, when actually that's an insult to every African American that's actually experienced true police brutality. Police ain't brutally assaulting you; they doing their job. To y'all, they're actually doing their jobs, because y'all are actually in pure violation of the law.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is this. What I'm trying to ask you is this. When you rely on Bud v. People, right, that does not mention the word automobile, drive, or travel once in the entire case. It has nothing to do.
Damn. Automobile, drive, or travel. And he said, oh, Bud versus New York, the people of New York, 1893. Bro, she's a... Do they even read the cases they cite? I mean, seriously, people, do they even read the cases they try to throw at you? Do they? And these brothers have been disrespecting. They about to get real disrespectful later on. But Cujo is sitting over there just enjoying them trying to do this to the sister. Because what in the world is all this? Stop it! A custodial arrest is something slightly different, but it doesn't apply to a traffic stop because they are a sworn law enforcement officer when they arrest you. Oh, okay. How are they false Moors? Just curious. Okay, so Montel Jackson. If you look at my videos I did this morning, because I woke up to this Cujo L's bullshit. So I said, okay, I'm going to have something for his ass. Actual Moors, and one of them tried to come at me about Dr. Ben saying we're Moors. And I love Dr. Ben. But every scholar, even, I love Sarah Seti. I ain't trying to call out Uncle Seti. But I gotta say it. Uncle Seti's been wrong on some things too. You know what I'm saying? But I follow Seti. I follow Dr. Ben. I follow Dr. John Henry Clark. Like Seti said, get you some Dr. Ben, some Dr. Clark, we good. But this idiot doesn't know Dr. Ben's also been wrong about the Moorish, the time we were calling ourselves Moors. We never did. The real Moors of the conquest of Spain are actually jihad Arabs and a mixture of the they swept through North Africa, and they're also a mixture of the Romans that also invaded North Africa after the conquest and destruction of Carthage, which is ancient Carthagena. After the Numidians betrayed Chinu Bachola Barca, who the world knows Hannibal, but Hannibal is actually the name of a slave ship. But Chinu Bachola Barca is who was betrayed by the Numidians, and then after Rome destroyed that part of Carthage and put their claim on North Africa, they started calling Africans Moors or Moros, things like that, which is actually, in that terms of African people, disrespectful. It's a disrespectful term. Now, when the Arabs came, they Islamized the white Romans there and the native Africans, and after Islaming them, they made the Romans kind of equal to them, but they enslaved the African our African people there, and they went and conquested through North Africa all the way up into Spain. Now, when they say, "Oh, look at these pictures of the North Africans destroying, look at these black people," those were slaves. Those are the actual Moors. See, the Moor Science Temple is trying to say that we're indigenous to America, which we are not, and that we had, we dress in Moorish garb and the fezzes. Now, there's a problem. If you also look at my videos from earlier this morning, 2 videos I put up, Moors don't wear fezzes, they wear turbans. That's one. Number 2, the fez is from the Askari, and they're not even Muslim. The Moors of America, the Moor Science Temple of America, the Moor Science pseudos, they wear the Moorish garb, they wear suits, they wear fezzes, and don't even know when you put on that fez, you representing what is called the Askari, which did not fight on no Morocco, no nothing. The fez comes from the Ottoman Turks and the Turkish Islam that ruled Morocco and all that, but also ruled Egypt, that had slave soldiers, the black units that they would call from the word Lashkar, that's Persian, that will become the term Askari. They wore those fezzes. They were not Muslim. They were mostly Christian. But they also have the Askaris that were in the Belgian army during World War I and II. They also had Askari in the Germany army during World War I and II. And this is where the kicker is, because I'm in Ethiopia right now. They had Askari in all the Ethiopian-Italian wars, which were mainly comprised of Eritreans when they got colonized by Italy, and Somalians when they got colonized by Italy. Now, I talked to somebody and asked them, because I'm going to the source, and I asked my brothers and sisters, like, "Oh, you're Ethiopian." Of course we Ethiopian. You know what I'm saying? At once upon a time, all of Africa was Ethiopia. But I asked them about, like 1 or 2 of these brothers, about the Moors. They have no fucking idea what a Moor is. So how are all black people Moors when it was aimed at us, it was for North Africans, indigenous, and it was actually derogatory. And 2, the Moorish Empire, Moor Science Temples says the Moors are all over the world. Black people are really Moors. When I'm here in Ethiopia, where they fought against people with fezzes, they were called the Askari. And they're like, "Wait a minute, what the hell is a Moor? I've never heard that in my life." That's why the Moors got a bad rep. They're lying. The real Moorish Empire ended. It started in like the 700 AD, and it ended in the 1400s. That Moorish chief painting, there was never a Moorish chief. He never even was a chief. He was a guard of a harem, a whorehouse. And then the real Moorish chief paintings that were painted in the Alhambra have the Hall of the Kings. And they're all whites and Arabs. Of the real Moors that ruled Spain. Because yes, there were white and Arab Moors. The Christians called them Moriscos. But they were not black people. And any Islamic black person that was in Islam that was ruling, they were ruling in Africa, in the Mali empires and Songhai and all that. In some cases, they did rule in Morocco. But they did not leave Africa. And they were not Moors, they were Muslims. That's why the Moors of America have a bad reputation. They're fucking liars. And all they've done is gotten a lot of black people put away in prison for nothing.
Do that. What are you relying on it for?
The status of either operating in commercial capacity, which the
Yes. But like I said, Jason, the so-called black Moors that did rule, they were not ruling Morocco. I mean they were not ruling Spain. That's a lie. They ruled like some parts of Morocco in West Africa, but they didn't even call them. That's another thing too that I gotta tell you, Montel. The Moors today, like the Amazigh and the Tubu people up in North Africa, whose roots go back to the Gurma people of ancient Libya, that were described by the Romans as like the Cushites and Ethiopians, which is why when you see those white Libyans, those were the sea peoples. They were invaders. But these in the ancient roots, they're the Gurma people. Today they're like the Amazigh, the Tuareg, and all that. The Black Tuareg, Babar or Berber, the real actual Berber. They were the ones who would be called Moors, and to this day they still do not call themselves that. That's the problem. They don't call themselves Moors. You understand? So that's the whole situation with that, man. And yeah, like Jason said, they were the Moors were kicked out of Spain in like 1492. And that's when Christopher Columbus and all them was sailing over here to the Americas. Now, while all that was going on, tell me why the actual Moors that were, like I said, in Morocco, the slaves, they came down to North Africa and started destroying even other Muslim empires. Moors ain't your friends, really. Yes, 711 AD. In the Moroccan Empire, they lie. They say that the kingdom, Morocco right now, is the kingdom, and that this is the empire. But the real Moroccan Empire stretches from modern-day Morocco into Spain, all the way as far as Persia and into Turkey. That's the Moroccan Empire, which was actually the Turkish Empire. It wasn't even Moorish, really. The real Moroccan Empire is not even Moorish. It's Turkish. A different type of Islam that does not wear turbans. They did at one time combine the turban with the fez, but they was doing that to get rid of the turban. And well, not get rid of it, but replace the turban with the fez, which would later be adopted by other European people like the British, the Germans, the Italians, that would later they would use on their slave soldiers and stuff like that, which would be the different African units.
Script that I referenced is dealing with that, devoting their property to public interest, which would be commerce, and in retrospect,
Wordplay, man, I can't stand it.
not devoting your property to public interest, which again deals with the state's ability to regulate individuals in their private or public capacity. That's what this entire argument is about, because in law, the first issue is status. So we can't even talk about the fact that you're behind the wheel.
She's shaking her head.
Unless we address the status. Just like if you're going to sue a cop, the first thing you have to address is that individual in his official capacity or in his private capacity.
Okay. So I think
What in the French toast does that have to do with? Y'all need that. Seriously.
what you're asking for courts to do, because I'm going to assume that you're going to make this argument, or someone Moors to do is to bypass hundreds of years of jurisprudence, which says that operating a motor vehicle, no matter which capacity that you're operating it, whether it's commercial or not.
Okay. Yeah, correct, Jason. And that's another thing too. Real quick before I continue this. This is why I'm strictly Pan-African, as in the people post-slavery. Because yes, a lot of us were all in other parts of the world, but Afrocentrism has become a problem for me because now we were the original black Indians, give them their culture back. Now we're the original black Greeks. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? And now we were the Moors of Spain. You were the slave soldier. You know what I'm saying? And like Jason says, like you said, that would have been racially unheard of back in the time of Spain. And Afrocentrism, and I think that's used to focus on every other part of the world except of black people except Africa. It's detrimental from my point of view at this point.
You have to have a license in order to do that. And go all the way back to 1892 to a case that has nothing to do with traveling.
Nothing to do with traveling. That's all they do. They go back to cases where if you actually study, you'll learn it has nothing to do with what the Moors talk about.
Nothing to do with automobiles. It doesn't even have anything to do with horse and buggies. It has nothing to do.
Horse and buggies. Because that's what mostly was around during that time. Horses and buggies. Not automobiles. The automobile was only 8 years old in 1892, 1893. So what did the Moors talk? What is Canaanland and Jamal and Yusuf Mutadi and all them talking about? Y'all just want to gang up on the sister just to be stupid. You picked the right one to gang up on too, cause she, ooh, boy, I can't.
With what you're talking about, in order for them to find that, as long as you're not in a commercial capacity, that the states cannot regulate it. And time again, the courts have said that you're wrong. Why do you disregard all the cases that have come out since then? For example, because
disregard all the cases, and the courts have said over and over and over they're wrong. This is how you know this is a fucking scam. And Cujo is always saying somebody is a punk ass for not claiming that nationality. Why would I claim a bunch of bullshit that's a scam that'll get me locked up? And then one little outburst like y'all do, that's not even that serious, you get me fucking 10 years in prison following this bullshit. And then this bullshit includes disrespecting good women. I got no tolerance for punk motherfuckers like that. You wanna call somebody a punk ass? I'd rather be a punk ass than a punk motherfucker. Cause I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if y'all listening, when a pissed off man says motherfucker, run. I got no tolerance for punk motherfuckers that disrespect women that are polite to you and kind to you.
let you get a case if you'll just let me get a case.
Listen.
For example, as to the fundamental right to drive, federally there are
fair use
1,080 cases on that issue, right? And each of those cases says that there is no fundamental right to drive or operate a motor vehicle. And so if they...
It's not including the Constitution.
Say that again?
Talk about the right to drive.
It is, so here's the thing. Whether or not you're talking about the right to...
Real quick, back on the Spain, the Moors topic. Well, no, Jason. That's just it. It's not that the Moorish Empire, because it's no longer around, they don't call themselves Moors no more. They never did. That's it. That was a term by the Romans and others. The indigenous North Africans or even Islam, which are, of course, that is embraced Islam, they never called themselves Moors. Never. It's just a European term by the Romans, and later on adopted by those that were in the Spaniards and Europeans in Spain and stuff like that. That's it.
To drive when you go to court, and the issue that
Listen to this, man. She just rips them apart, and it's sad. It's like she said, why do you continue to disregard? And the more she just watch, you're gonna see. The more that she does this, the more Cujo and the rest of those guys are gonna just start disrespecting her.
this, I don't want to say belief system. I don't want to be offensive. So, school of thought.
No, Natalie, it's a belief system. It's not a school of thought because they are not thinking, sweetie. And you, shout out to you, Natalie. You know, like I said, fair use of your video. I'm just doing the audio, but fair use. But shout out to you because you was still a lady about the whole situation. But no, it's no school of thought because if they were thinking, they would not be pulling this shit.
Let's say that. The issue that this school of thought has is that no one else accepts what you're saying except for you. That's what.
Shots fired. Uh-oh. She says, school of thought, nobody's accept what you're saying except y'all. Feathers, and turbans everywhere. Damn, Natalie.
Hold on. So to be clear, are you stating that us referencing stare decisis and res judicata is our own independent school of thought?
You're not referencing stare decisis.
So when I stated Blood versus New York, what's that?
That's not stare.
What's stare decisis? Or if that's what they're saying, because I'm not familiar with that. If anybody can put that in the chat.
Stare decisis because it doesn't deal with the issue of driving. And when you go to court for operating a
You know what she just said? It doesn't. They do it all the time. Nothing that has nothing to do with the fucking topic. They do it every time.
motor vehicle without a license, you're in a court that's dealing with traffic issues, which is driving. And the word traffic has multiple meanings, not just trafficking as in selling things back and forth. It also means the movement of motor vehicles in and around the public roads, right?
Hello.
And sometimes private roads, depending on what the issue is. So you can.
That's happened before. When I was a kid, actually no. I just turned 18 at the time, and my dad. This is back before when he could still see. He was working at this place called Wamplers, and he took me with him to help him on a shift one day. So we were traveling in okay, we live in Delaware, and we traveled out of into some back roads in Philly, and I think we had to be careful because it was where the Amish were, and it was actually private roads. So but in that case, they were very welcoming. They didn't give us no problems. They didn't say, oh, this is a private road, you're gonna be in violation. No. We just came in there. I helped them with the get the clothes out of this one building, and the people were just very kind about that. But yeah, you have to be careful because there are some rules and regulations on private roads where you can't operate a certain motor vehicle, and that's another thing. If you get caught in violation of that with the stuff the Moors pull, that's like double the fine.
Cannot just selectively pick one definition of the word trafficking out of context and then try to apply that to a school of court. This is why.
Yup.
Unfortunately, Moorish Americans on this particular issue are so often unsuccessful in court.
Boom.
I wish that you would actually reference the stare decisis. For example, Miller v. Reed, which is a 1999 case instead of an 1890-something case.
That's what you just said. Miller versus Reed, a 1999 case instead of an 1890-something case. That's a whole century later. That ain't too far. Listen to this one.
Which says that there is no fundamental right to drive, even though there is a right to travel. Are you muting me? Mendoza v. Garrett, which is
A what?
2018 case.
(2018). These fools keep trying to cite some cases from Yonderville where the cases are null and void. It makes no sense. And she's coming at them with case after case that's more recent. And she just said 2018. We in 2022 right now. That case that she just cited to give them an example was 4 fucking years ago. And as we progress, you can hear the tone in their voices. Just thinking about it, it's kind of weird that the term more was misapplied, or at least it seems like it was to certain peoples and only based on what certain definitions were of the root word. Yeah, because more means many different things. But like I said, in the case of African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Colombians, British Africans, Africans all over the world, and definitely the motherland itself, Africans here. It was an insult. That's why, Canaanland Moors, he keeps calling me, oh, look at these dumb, dirty Moors. This guy's a dumb, dirty Moor. Oh, so you know what the fuck you're saying then when you say that, a dumb, dirty Moor, which is what a Moor actually means when you look at black people. Especially ones that embrace their African roots, were considered to be Moors, because it's looking at us as, oh, look at your Moors, you're dull, you're stupid, you're brainless, you're a savage. I'm all the above. To them, I'm all the above. Not knowing you are claiming a history that is gone. A nationality that's not yours, and a uniform that belongs to... But we done more. I'm moving on.
Which says that there is no fundamental right to drive.
This is a 2018 case. No fundamental right to drive.
Fundamental right to a driver's license. Wright v. Family Support Division of Missouri, which says that there is no fundamental right to operate a motor vehicle, even though you have a right to interstate travel and a right to interstate commerce. So I want to make this very, very clear. You make the arguments about interstate commerce, right, and the commercial ability to go back and forth, but courts have already said that you don't have a right to do that by way of motor
Courts have said this, and they refuse to listen.
Vehicle. So the way in which you travel, or go back and forth, or do not engage in commerce, whether or not you're engaging in commerce, if you're going to do it by motor vehicle, you need to have a driver's license. And I know you might want to cut me off, but it's just the truth.
Yeah, but the point of you saying having the right or not having the right is based on what you're saying is a motor vehicle, which is sanctioned.
Based on what you're saying, but yeah, she's citing law. Told you, look, they're getting in their feelings now.
So of course you're going to have a license because you were the one who registered it with the state, with the province who registered it with, in order to have that quote-unquote privilege called driving. But if you didn't register it, you would have the ability to exercise the right. But I guarantee you that if you had you're going to say that you have a license, won't you?
So that's not true, right?
No.
And no, I have to challenge the premise. The premise is incorrect. Sir, the premise is incorrect. Whether or not first of all, you have to, sir, the premise is incorrect. Sir, the premise is incorrect.
Do you have a license? Do you have a license? Do you? Because obviously you don't.
The premise, I will answer your question, but you must allow me to correct the premise. And that's what I'm saying. You make these allegations that are not based in the law.
And you know what? The Moorish Science Temples even said that. They make allegations, talk about this part of the law, that part of the law, but not the law itself. And the minute, now look at her. The minute she's really doing true corrections, they getting butthurt. Now they attacking her.
They're not based in the law.
I got a call today.
That's what they always say. I got a call today. Just like Sabir Bey will say some shit like, when he debated Seti, I get on the phone with somebody from Abyssinia right now. Bro, Seti been to Ethiopia 3 times. Stop. And just like Jason said to that Jason, to that one moron a couple weeks back about me being wrong, and how I've talked about we were talking about the East African slave trade and stuff like that, and I knew, because I've been to Africa, and I said not yet, but I've talked to Ethiopians, our Ethiopian family, myself in Little Ethiopia in DC, and they confirmed everything that I was saying about it. And then, like I said earlier, now I am in Africa. What can you say to me now, Moors? Nothing. First day. This is my second day. And already 24 hours ago, I was asking questions about Moors and stuff like that. And they was like, what the hell is that? Well, Montel, the thing about it is, a lot of black people want the powerful Moors that they see in the pictures, but the thing is, you gotta, there's a video of people in Britain protesting a street named after Moor, and it's because, they're Pan-Africanists out there in Britain, and they're protesting the word Moor. That's a street is named after, and they tell you why they protest it, because it's an insult. But the pictures that you see, a lot of the black Moors, or even pro-blacks that do acknowledge the Moorish empire that they think they see, that's not Moors. That's just the Mali Empire or the Songhai Empire. It's just the Muslim empires of Africa. That's really all it is. And they want to associate that with the Moors that they think were conquering Spain, but it wasn't. But to each his own, you know what I'm saying? I can't change your mind. I'm not here to change your mind, brother. You know what I'm saying? I respect your opinion, and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna drop the knowledge to you, so you have a doorway, like, oh, if I see real bullshit, then I can just walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? But that Fed stuff, that's not Moorish. That's Turkish. And the black people that wore it were Askaris. They were soldiers of the European armies.
You don't want me to actually answer the question, do you?
No, they don't.
You don't.
Look, here we go. Here we go. See? Keep talking. Here we go.
Oh, wait, hold on. You want me to stop talking, but Mr. Moores invited me on his channel. Why are you being disrespectful to me? Is it because I am making arguments that you don't know how to overcome otherwise, Mr. Mutati? Mr. Mutati, are you being disrespectful to me because you cannot go against my arguments, sir?
Your status. It has nothing to do with you personally. Nobody's personally anything with you. We don't care.
He told me to drink my water and to stop talking, and that you guys needed to mute my microphone. I want to make sure that your viewers can hear that.
You're still talking.
Yeah. Well, you invited me. You said for me.
Shut the fuck up, Cool Joe. Don't talk to her like that. But he want to call somebody a punk ass that call him out. You see what the fuck I'm talking about?
To take this on. You said for me to tell you what I'm thinking, and I told you that. But you don't want to hear it.
The reason why is because
I love the way she smiled. Let me rewind. Let me rewind that.
Drink my water and to stop talking, and that you guys needed to mute my microphone. I want to make sure that your viewers can hear that.
You're still talking. You're still talking.
Yeah. Well, you
Listen to
agreed.
this.
You said for me to take this on. You said for me to tell you what I'm thinking, and I told you that. But you don't want to hear it.
This is after when she said it, but you don't want to hear it. I look at her face. She like, you don't want to hear it. Because you know I'm going to whoop that ass. Because you know I'm right. Can you see it? Oh, my bad. Hold on. She said, look, you don't want to hear it. Look at her face. You don't want to hear what she got to say because you know she corrected everything that she's talking about. Let me see if I can. Okay, there we go. She knows she's correcting everything that she's talking about. And y'all are wrong, but you don't want to hear it. That's why they're getting disrespectful now. They're getting desperate. And y'all may agree, y'all may disagree and say, no, they're going to get desperate later on. No, later on, they're going to get pitiful.
The reason why is because we went on your video and we were just going to watch your video and debunk your video.
Because that's all you can fucking do. Debunk, make fun of, threaten, do what you want to do, blah, blah, because you can't really... there's never been a real actual debate where the Moors have actually won a debate. Y'all have really got your asses handed to you every single time.
Without you.
Okay.
You sent the message and saying you wanted to debate something.
And I'm answering your questions, but you don't want me to debate.
Hold on. So we said fine.
Drink that water, girl. Let me drink it with you.
Come on here. It's not an issue because we don't care. You're not going to change us.
Then why the fuck did you say anything to her?
From doing what we're doing.
I don't want to change you.
You're not going to influence us or put any information on us that's going to make us feel like, oh, we shouldn't be doing what it is that we're doing.
I don't want to change you.
The question that was asked to you is, do you have a license?
And I said that your premise was incorrect because
See, they avoided it. Do you have a license? Your premise is incorrect. Well, do you have a license? Do you have a license? What? Are you licensed? Are you licensed to practice law? Are you practice a license? Are you really a true lawyer? Do you have a license? What the fuck do you have, whore?
you are giving misinformation, sir.
You have a license.
You are giving.
The whole thing, the right to travel, the court cases, their history is all misinformation. And they sometimes, like I said, that one dude tried to use Dr. Ben against me. And it's like, even Dr. Ben has flaws.
Misinformation, sir.
Like I said, I love Dr. Ben, but even Dr. Ben's thing on the Moors was flawed.
You have a license.
Sir, you're giving misinformation.
Or don't
Sir,
have a license.
you're giving misinformation.
You have a license.
Sir, you're giving misinformation.
You have a license.
Can I correct your premise first?
No. Do you have a license?
So your premise is
No, do you have a license? My bad. I forgot.
incorrect. The reason that I say that your premise is incorrect is because whether or not you register your vehicle, you need to have a license in order to operate a motor vehicle.
And that's state law. Listen to this fool.
And on top, please cite me the law. Please cite me the law. Okay, I have multiple times. I think the only person who has cited me law has been Mr. Abdullah Bey. That's been the
How is she fucking lying when that's the goddamn law? Stupid. Sorry, y'all, I gotta do it again. How? How? That makes no sense. You're lying. You're lying. You were lying when you went on that video that Truth 151, shout out to the brother, debunked when you said, oh, the cops they pulled to the left side of the road, and you can't do that. That's against the law. And they cleared the road path so I can travel to so they can let me off the highway. That is technically, I'm sorry, kind of technically that's kind of fucking impossible to do on a highway, on a bridge or whatever the fuck you was, because that doesn't. Damn. Damn it. My bad. Yo, hold on. I gotta get my slap back. There we go. Much better. That doesn't even make sense. So how are you gonna say she's lying and nothing you say is in the law that you need a license to travel. Just and they try to say stuff like, oh, where the jurisdictions if you travel out this certain amount of so it's just like they saying, if this one state says this one state does that. Different laws are different in different states. Like in some laws, in some states you can bounty hunt, and others you cannot bounty hunt. But when it comes to driving, every state enforces a driver's license, a license plate, everything. So your state may have stricter rules of driving than another state. It doesn't mean that, oh, if I travel out of here, I won't need a license. Wrong answer. You're traveling out of jurisdiction of where I'm from in Delaware. I'm traveling to Pennsylvania, I'm good. I don't need a license. Click, click. Please. You know how many motherfuckers I seen outside Club Roar get arrested because they were driving drunk? And their friends had to drive them home sometimes too. And some of them got pulled over again because their friends didn't have a license. So everybody went to jail. I'm seeing all this crazy shit. So that's why I'm just sitting there like, wow, this dude is just fucking disrespect for a lady that's polite.
The only person who has cited me law. And then I went and I looked at his law and saw that it did not apply to this situation. Please cite me some law.
How the fuck is she lying, Cujo?
You said that it wasn't a personal attack, but now I'm lying. I've never called you a liar.
Not once.
I believe that you genuinely believe what you believe. You are making misrepresentation, sir.
Can I address?
Yes, please, Mr. Bay.
All this, sir, and all this stuff, that's just.
Now this is where I get my my gears grinded.
Because you know that we're Mormons. Don't tell me about no sir.
I never called you a liar. I believe that you genuinely believe what you believe.
What's this shit?
You are making misrepresentation, sir.
Can I address?
Yes, please, Mr. Bay.
All this, sir, and all this stuff, that's disrespectful. Because you know that we're Mormons. So don't tell me about no sir and all that stuff.
How is that disrespectful?
Respectful position. We're not sir.
How is that disrespectful?
I'm not a sir. You don't call me sir. In your little legal tone, as if you're respecting somebody. You never respected anybody talking crazy, sir.
Don't call us sir. Sir, you know that we're Moors. Yeah, you don't deserve to be called sir, because you do not deserve no respect. Since when is calling somebody sir disrespectful? My father taught me and my brother to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am to somebody that's polite to you or in a different type of authority since we were young. Our old martial arts instructors, always we had to address it with yes sir, no sir. That's why everywhere I go, people say, oh wow, you have manners. Yes ma'am. Yes sir. Wait, you ain't gotta call me sir. But thank you. You know, like no, just relax, man, relax. Because if I was caught being disrespectful, my daddy got on my ass. You understand? My mom and dad can get on my ass. And that's just them. I still got my martial arts instructors to deal with. Who ain't gonna who the ones I've dealt with in life, they don't tolerate that shit. They don't. So I don't know what the fuck Cujo talking about with this whole don't call us sir, don't call us sir. Yeah, she's right. She shouldn't call you sir because you don't deserve that kind of respect. You don't deserve no respect from her at all. With your disrespectful ass. So calling you sir is disrespectful and it's rude because you're Moors. Well, how about I call you Cole? How about I call you Cole? Okay? That's your new name from now on. Instead of Cujo, your name is Cole. Because
Cole, you stupid.
So your new name is Cole. Not Cujo, not sir. It's Cole. Because you stupid.
So once again, you know what, Mr. Abdullah Bey would like to speak, and you wouldn't allow him to speak.
No, this is my platform. You didn't tell me what to do there.
Okay.
But you want somebody to respect you. You want somebody to respect you. Nigga, please.
Oh!
Negro, please.
Okay. These are great arguments, by the way.
These are great arguments, by the way. Y'all are straight wasting this woman's time.
Just because Blood versus New York doesn't mention specifically the word motor vehicle, traveling, or automobile, that does not mean that it's not relevant to the topic of discussion because we're talking about the status of driving and traveling. That's like saying Cruz versus Neil doesn't apply to anything because it doesn't specifically mention, whatever it is we're talking about, but it states
There go the wordplay.
all men are independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He's not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. That's dealing with the right to contract and the right to association, which is also dealing with human rights. And in regard.
What the fuck is he talking about? I think we were almost feeling those slapbacks earlier. It moved the dang screen. My bad. I got real mad when every time I see that. Every time I see that, like when I watched this debate, I laugh up until they started saying that shit to her. Then the debate went from she's just crushing y'all. It's funny to y'all motherfuckers need to get kicked in the balls because I need to see if you actually have a pair. You know what I'm saying? Now I know there's a lot of women out there that do deserve a lot of the shit they get, but a woman like this, no. You no. No. This is stupid, man. So, my bad.
To traveling, it states in the Articles of Confederation, which is part of the Constitution, reference Article 6 of the Constitution, that we have the right to free ingress and regress into every state. So the fact that they're saying we need permission, which a driver's license is permission by definition, that violates our free right to ingress and regress into every other state. The reason why they have tolls and driver's licenses and things like that is only for the regulation of commerce, which is traffic. And here I showed in Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, signed by the retired Chief Justice of.
Will you please give that damn Black's Law Dictionary back to where the fuck you got it from?
Rhode Island Supreme Court, Superior Court, that traffic is commerce and trade, and every other subsequent definition.
And earlier hold on, let me see that again. And earlier you were right, you were exactly right. It's not disrespectful, the term sir. I think they think I'm sorry, they only think it is because they've got screwed views on many things. Of course. Of course. That doesn't make no sense. She's been respectful the whole time. She's been respectful from beginning to end in this whole video. It makes no sense, man.
Deals with goods, trade, commerce, and business, and has nothing to do with people driving in their private capacity. So to state that Bud versus New York is irrelevant is frivolous.
It's irrelevant. It's from 1893.
It has no standing just because it doesn't mention the word motor vehicle or traveling. And you've been wrong stating that we're arguing the right to drive. We're not arguing the right to drive. We're arguing the right to travel.
So first it wasn't the right to drive, it was right to travel. Then you said it wasn't, I didn't say travel. Now you're saying the right to travel. By the way, this is what's going on now. About 4 motherfuckers is on her. 4 motherfuckers is on her now at this point. I can't do it. I really do not understand this the whole concept of it's stupid.
Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
The fuck out of here, man. That's just stupid.
No matter how you're traveling, in this case law is referencing that as well, because government only has power because the people gave it to them. In this case law stating that government's courts can't go beyond the powers delegated to them, which is why the 10th Amendment exists, stating that all rights, I'm paraphrasing, stating that anything that's not stated in the Constitution doesn't deprive the people of that right. entire document that we're talking about.
It's criminal.
What?
Okay, so I'll take what you said in turn. First of all, I was reading some of your comment section here, and they said that I was dodging the question. I have a driver's license. There's nothing to dodge there. I was just pointing out that your premise was incorrect. But going back to Mr. Abdullah Bey, first of all, when you deal with the doctrine of stare decisis, or basically following what one case says to another, what the courts are going to look to, any court that you go to, is the law that deals with the issue that you are before the court for. Even if you want to define driving as something separate than, traveling, and say that, the issue of driver's licenses don't apply to this, or whatever the case may be, the courts don't agree with you, and they have not agreed with you, and they've addressed.
They don't agree. I don't understand. They don't agree. The courts have kept saying it. They don't agree. And like she said earlier, the more she tells them about how the courts have gotten on them about this, the more they just fight back. And it's like, the courts, thousands of cases, all have said, no, you're incorrect. Your case is thrown out of court. You have to pay bills. You have to pay this fine. And in some cases, you don't want to pay the fine, and then you find yourself threatening a judge, and you're in jail for the next 10 years. And then, like these guys, man, they just keep battling back, and all I'm hearing is this. That was a bad Godzilla thing, but I like it. I don't care. No, let me try again. Hold on. That's all we hear. Godzilla sounds. Just like when some people just, all I'm hearing is cluck, cluck, cluck.
Your issue, please let me finish, over and over and over again, and in each and every single one of these cases, and I said it's been over 1,000 cases or some odd, they have said that if you want to operate a motor vehicle, you have to have a driver's license to do so, and that the states are given the authority to enforce that you need to have a driver's license, registration, and insurance. That has been said in case after case after case. You cite to Black's Law Dictionary, however, the edition that you're citing to is very, very out of date. Sometimes, I believe, before the advent of driver's licenses. Aside from that, Black's Law Dictionary is not law. It is just a dictionary. That's all it is. It has no force of law. There's not a court today that uses anything. First of all, Black's Law Dictionary it's not really in vogue. And then secondly, there's not a court of law today that you can walk into if you're charged with any type of an offense that will use Black's Law Dictionary and say, well, because Black's Law Dictionary says this is how we're going to do it. And then finally, I would challenge your argument that basically the state does not have power over people. If we're not talking about traffic infractions, which to me are not the most serious things in the world, right? There's far more serious crimes. Say that we're talking about murder.
They're not even that serious, and these dudes are turning it into something stupid. And she said it's in vogue. She just said it. It was on the tip of my tongue. The edition that they use, Black Law Dictionary, is so outdated, and they've all said that not one court case has came in and said, "Oh, Black's Law Dictionary says this." It's just a fucking dictionary. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. Get a fucking life, man. Get a job.
Murder, right? Say someone kills another person. The government has the power to arrest that person. That's basically kidnapping. Take that person and put them in a jail, right? To try that person, to put that person away. A municipality is a form of government. Put that person away. Try them by a jury. Sentence them. In some states, execute them. Take their lives away. That's at the most extreme end of things. The government has the ability to do all types of things. Repossess people's property. Even though people don't agree with it, the government taxes people. Whether it's a state government, federal government, local government, which is what a municipality is.
A little off topic.
No, I'm just addressing the things that you said, which is that the government doesn't have power over people. Of course it has power over people. It doesn't? So when someone molests a child, the government doesn't have the authority or the power to put that person in prison?
You're talking about the status of a crime. That's different. You're mixing people in their private capacity, and then when that person commits a crime, which now you're talking about a different status because you're injuring the public.
What the fuck do you think driving without a goddamn license in all the 50 plus states in the United States is, you dipshits? It's a fucking crime. It is a goddamn crime. Jesus Christ. I'm getting a fucking migraine listening to this shit.
Yes, government has power to regulate that. Yes. That our argument is not that.
So then the government has power.
If you're liable to be sued and be brought to court. But if you do not commit a crime.
The government has the authority and the power of because we gave it to them. It's a representative democratic republic. Yeah. We gave them the power. Now some dudes is like, well, we gotta take it away from you. Well, how are you gonna do it? Makes no sense, man. They gave them the power. I mean, the people gave them the power. We the people. We did. But the way y'all trying to, they're basically these people are trying to work outside the law. Now, how the laws were placed on certain people, I get it. I understand that. I'm a descendant of the slave trade myself, so I get it. I get it. But this shit, no. You're just another form of an oppressor pulling this bullshit. It's just like, it's hard for me, because I work as a security guard, so it's hard for me to not jump into action whenever somebody does something stupid, because according to my instructions that can lead me into a law case, I just have to sit here and try to somewhat stop it and report it and call the police. Unless I'm being attacked, it's not in my jurisdiction to stop somebody from stealing. And that's law as a security officer. Unless I'm armed. It sucks. It sucks. I've failed to stop 2 robberies, which I was going to go outside the law, but that could cost me trouble. I failed to stop 2 robberies, but I was going to go outside the law and do it. Of course, I got there too late when the robberies already happened. You know, it sucks. Like I said, it sucks. But if I had made it there in time and went outside the law, unfortunately, I could be facing some real serious problems myself. So, you know, and who gave the people that power? Who gave the security guards that type of power? The law. Who gave the people the law? I mean, gave the law to the republic and all them, the people. We, the people, the American citizens, is represented in government by our representatives in Congress. That's how we also have the power. Yeah, just like we have the power to elect who becomes president. Like, people didn't know, if you'd have stuck with Trump, you'd probably be in a much better position in America than we do now under Biden. Trump trying to do this, Trump trying to do that. Yeah, Biden's about to bring back the crack pipe epidemic. Stupid. People, oh my God. It's very easy to start changing laws and get things done, but you know, Me, I'm trying to repatriate back here in Ethiopia right now. You know what I mean? Sure, we differ as far as Trump and Biden. That's everybody's opinion. I mean, that's not everybody's opinion. That's your, that's your opinion, and I respect it. Just like my man Montel, he's still kind of like in about the Moors. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's this guy named Ninja X3. He's a cool guy. Back when I was helping those the high value guys and people who debate against dudes like MGTOW and all that, where some of the guys in the red pill community want to talk about dating or having relationships. And at one point I said that I thought he was really cool. I thought he was against marriage, and I said it was a old stuff a long time ago that I got rid of, the old videos. But I said that he has he'd rather not get married, but I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? But he has a nice girlfriend. He does have a nice girlfriend, but he doesn't want to get married. I believe in marriage, but it's okay to agree to disagree with people that you're cool with. But he did, correct me and say, "Oh no, I'm not against marriage. I just don't want to." So if you agree with Biden, then others agreeing with Trump. I didn't vote at all, but I understand your opinion. And that's welcome. Everybody's got to learn to accept that. If you're gonna be a man, you gotta be a man about this shit. People are gonna have difference of opinions. Like, excuse me, me and Truth 151. I personally don't believe me. This is me. The way I've been looking up research, I don't believe we're the Olmecs, that we came from Africa. But he says we did, and we created civilizations. I just don't want to believe it because I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on Africa. And I think that's part of the problem because that's taken away from the indigenous Mexicans and stuff like that created culture in America and the real Native Americans. But he has his opinion, but he says we're not the Native Americans. But he says we did come. But I can respect his opinion. You know what I'm saying? I respect it. You understand what I'm saying? But these guys, man, they don't respect nothing.
And there's no civil infraction. There's no injured party. Then the government has no jurisdiction to even talk to you unless you talk to them.
So
what are you talking about?
of every state are under the criminal articles. They are considered crimes because the penalties that come with them can put people in jail. Okay, can we concede that at least? That whether or not the government, let me just, can I please just finish this point, please? Whether or not the government is right or wrong, and whether or not you agree or disagree with the government exercising this power, right?
It is really beautiful outside.
When someone drives without a license,
It's chilly
put
this
a
morning.
person in jail, and they do that, right? They have, and they.
I didn't do that.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Are you saying that that's right? Somebody doesn't have a license, so they throw somebody in jail that they're right for that?
Personally, right, versus professionally, I don't like the idea of
Personally versus professionally. That's why they say you got to leave your personal feelings outside of doing your job.
jailing somebody for driving without a license because I think that mostly it's a poverty crime.
Actually, from doing proper research, there's no such thing as sub-Saharan Africans. That's a term that was made up in 1978 to separate North Africa from the rest of Africa. I learned that recently when studying about the ancient Algerians, the real ancient Moroccans and all that. Nope, there's rock arts and history there that shows you that so-called sub-Saharan Africans were always there. So there's no such thing. They some white lady, I gotta find it, but some white lady, I want to do a video on that. Some white lady and a gentleman talked about that, saying no, there's no such thing. That's a term that people made up. But yeah, I agree. I don't. That's just me personally. I say it requires more research about Africans being Olmecs. I need more research, but I just don't want to focus on it because I just want to focus on Africa. It's just like um, Caucasians are still in the process of rebuilding a lot of their lost culture, and um, how we need to be left alone to rebuild our culture. I do the same thing. That's why I'm like, I'm not with this more science shit because y'all stealing from a culture that doesn't really belong to you via that you were their slave. But like for Greek cultures and all that, like all that, that they're trying to rebuild from studying Rome. Oh, that was our culture. No, it wasn't. We were the black Romans, and no, you fuck. I know Rome had some black folks in it, but you were not the rulers. Knock it the fuck off. Knock it off. We were the black Greeks. Achilles was black. No, the fuck he was.
Right? I don't like the idea. There are statistics on that. So many people that don't have the same belief system as you.
But what I'm saying is, real quick before I continue, I just have a difference of opinion about with Truth 151 about that, and he's provided information. I just still feel iffy. But do I say, oh no, that brother's wrong completely? Nope. I don't have no qualms with man. I think he's a really great individual. I think he's a great individual, and he practices true Islam. He actually asked me to let him know how Ethiopia was. I would suggest to him he might love Islam's version of Ethiopia's version of Islam. He'll love it. He'll love it. I think he will love it.
Are driving around without a license, not because they don't believe that they don't have to have one, but just because they can't afford to get their license renewed. Say it got suspended, or their state requires driver's ed, for example, and so they can't afford to go to driver's ed, or their license was suspended because of child support. And the reason they had bad child support is because they lost their job. But now they can't find a job because their license is suspended and they can't go from point A to point B.
Right.
Do I believe that those people should go to jail? Absolutely not.
Absolutely
I
not.
don't like it. But the state has the authority to do it. There are lots of laws that I don't agree with, but the state has the authority to do it.
And that's bottom line. And this is why these dudes get mad, because they don't want to deal with the fact that that's what the actual law is. I agree 100%. They shouldn't go to jail because they're having such a tough time in life. But according to the law, that's just what it is. You can't drive without a license, or you're gonna risk getting locked up. And these dudes get so butthurt every time a judge or someone like her says this to them. That depends, because actually here in Ethiopia, there's really dark skinned people, and it's actually chilly right now in Ethiopia. That's why I got a hoodie on. So no, they don't. That's the reason why I'm saying don't say sub-Saharan Africans is because even Ethiopians are like, don't. That's a bigotry term, and that's why I said the lady. That's why I like when she put that video up, because she's like, no, that was created. You know what I mean? But I understand what you're saying, and yes, there are definitely dark skinned people in Mexico, in South America, that are not Afro Latino, that are, of real Native Americans and everything, that have dark skin. Some darker than me. No joke. No joke. But they're not black people. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, this requires more, that requires more research. But back on the real topic though, Yeah, that's what it is. Y'all can't. No. Of course, partially that's wrong, but at the same time, if you get caught, you the one. You know what the risks are because of the law, and they're trying to work outside the law with this paperwork and Black's Law Dictionary nonsense. And every time she debunks them, they get fucking pissed.
Do it. That's all I'm trying to say.
So if that's the case, then why would you give that answer in your personal capacity, but not in your professional capacity? When your professional capacity is to defend people who get violated.
Well, when I oh. 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 I defend people who get violated. I'm trying to keep them out of jail. That's what I'm doing. But unfortunately, in a professional capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just like I said. I think it requires more research, but his information is up to par. Definitely, it's definitely up to par. But that's just the disagreement I have, with the brother, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm not gonna say, oh no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. That's just me. It could be. I don't know. I just rather focus on just African and Pan Africanism. That's it. That's just it. But no, he's a really great individual. He's fantastic. I don't know. I don't know. Cause that doesn't. She's she's trying to keep them out of jail. See, they always try to throw personal word.
I have to completely understand the law and all of its authority in order to protect my clients.
The law that you're understanding, is the law that you're understanding the supreme law of the land, or is the law that you're understanding the statutes, ordinances, and acts created by the states?
I think that those are both the same thing.
The same
There's not
fucking thing.
separation. You and I are going to have to disagree with that and disagree on that. In my opinion, right?
That's
Those
an
are.
issue. It's not. It's like what words mean. Like, because you say like there's a dictionary when you say that, but if we don't know what words mean, how do we even talk?
Okay, so I think.
Like, how does that? Like, I don't get that. Like, when you say that,
Yeah.
like, you have to know what the word means. So when the Green Sheik says statute,
Or niggas.
like, by definition, a statute will be this. So, like, I feel like you ignore the definitions.
No.
And we just go around with general terms.
No.
Like, that's or a saying, but not by the true definition of what it is. And then when we say a dictionary is not qualified, that's opinionated. Because I can easily say to you, sure, cite me a court case that says Black's Law Dictionary doesn't exist. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you say that all the time. And I'm like, I can say the same thing to you. Like, even when you refer back to history, when you looked up.
Show me the court case where they said Black's Law Dictionary does not exist. Were you fucking listening throughout the whole entire live?
You stupid.
I cannot with these dudes.
When license existed. So when we refer to you, well, when did these colonists come over here and start making these laws? You want us to cite the court date, but
Now here's my question: If you talk about the colonists, I thought you wasn't. Never mind.
the court case for that. But you don't cite no court case when you look up for when did all
She cites no court case when you look up.
bills come into existence. Like, why can you use history, but when we ask about history, it's the issue. Like,
Because your history is full of shit. It's rewritten, revised of somebody else's culture, and it isn't true. It doesn't even match the situation African Americans are in.
you know that these are colonists here making these so-called statutes, acts, and ordinances. Like, it's like you just made a quick research. Boom. The automobile came in this year. You don't know
Yeah, it's called Google, stupid.
the research that these colonists came over here and started making these unconstitutional statutes, ordinances, and stuff. Like, you just did the research. I saw you. So I know you know how to research stuff. Like, so
Exactly, because when we research stuff, that's when we start busting your fucking ideologies.
you don't know that. You don't know that they're colonists.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to answer your question.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Not all Africans are dark are like jet black like they try to say. It's just like when they talk about Ethiopians, they always try to say, "Oh, that's there's this facial features. It's Ethiopians that have the same thin lips, thin nose that I have down south or up north that are darker than me. They're like really in my face, and some are up north in those regions, and they are jet black. So, but there's also Africans that have the same facial features that are my complexion. You know, I'm brown skinned, and some that are literally just light skinned. So, but you can tell they're just they're Africans. So I understand what you're saying, Jason. But trust me, there are indigenous North Africans in that could fit the Olmec prescription, but me personally, I just don't agree with it. You know, this dude, I don't even know. Where have you been the whole life? Like, which one? I don't even want to see which one is talking. I don't even care.
Question as completely as possible.
Wow.
Why is that a problem?
Everything's a problem with them.
So what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really not known. It's not known like that, Jason. Yeah, it's really not. It really isn't.
So, in trying to answer your question as completely as possible, I'll say this. The words and the definitions within the law are contained within both the statutes and the case law. You can
The statutes in the case law has nothing to do with Black's Law Dictionary.
of course, amplify
Y'all just saying shit just to argue with her, man.
or give context to legislative intent, basically what the legislators meant when they were putting laws in place by looking to history. Of course, history is important, and I want everyone to look at history when they look at the laws. But the history does not trump the law, right?
No,
So
it
the
doesn't.
law, as it is written, right? We have statutes that pertain.
Can you cite the court case for what you just stated?
Oh! It's in the rules of statutory construction that cite to the law.
That's not a law. Statutes are not laws.
You don't
By
believe that.
definition.
You don't
By
believe.
definition, I'm saying by definition in a dictionary.
A statute is literally a law that's written by the legislature.
That's not
Okay, I mean,
I'm not debating. I'm just saying what the dictionary says.
okay. That's all I'll say to that. Okay.
So that lets you know that they actually understand Black's Law's dictionary is not a force of law. It actually is just a damn dictionary. Because they're trying to use wordplay.
No, I mean, it's the thing that you're saying is not true. There is an actual.
I'm saying what the dictionary says.
Okay, let's look at what the dictionary says that a statute is. Okay.
Let's get. That's what I'm talking about.
What is a statute? A statute is a written law passed by a legislative body. So a statute is a law. Yes.
Are you aware that Article 4 of the Constitution states that in each state shall be guaranteed a Republican form of government?
Yes.
About 7 to 8 seconds after she told them that statutes is a law. Crickets. That pissed off everybody in that live chat.
So, based on that, would you agree that democracy is unconstitutional since it was never stated or written in the Constitution? Since you stated that Bud versus New York didn't apply to the argument of driving and traveling because it didn't mention either of those words. So since the Constitution doesn't mention the word democracy, can we both agree that a democracy is unconstitutional?
Hold on 1 second. I'll try to answer your question. I'm not a dictionary, so hold on. Thank you.
So she was being rude. She said thank you. She's being rude.
Okay. So your question is that, let me make sure I rephrase the question so I understand it. That because the word democracy is not mentioned in the Constitution, right? That
Careful.
this is not a democracy.
So I was asking.
Or like basically a republic. Okay, sorry. Let me, one more thing. Article 4 says, that it's, what does he say? Article 4, right?
Yes.
Article.
And see how she said she apologized for cutting them off, but they have yet to apologize once for cutting her off multiple times.
4, Section 4 says that the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. So it guarantees a republican form of government. So you're saying that is this not a democracy since it guarantees a republican form of government?
So, yes, but I was using your earlier argument against Bud versus New York because when I referenced that, you stated since it didn't mention driving, traveling, or motor vehicle, that I couldn't use that in my argument.
Right.
So now,
Right.
since the Constitution, based on your opinion and your beliefs and your ideas,
Sure.
since the Constitution does not state a democratic form of government or a due employee system, is it not true that the
Damn it.
Without date, which means they're no longer going to meet again as Congress of the Republic. It stated that a federal plot was discovered. It is stated on very good authority in Washington City that Mr. Stewart
Forget it. I'll just hold it like this for a minute.
to demolish the Democratic Party and re-elect Mr. Lincoln because the Democratic Party was trying to overthrow the Union in 1861, which is why Civil War broke out in 1862.
Yeah.
He has invented a splendid plot, which is to be exposed, of course, in due time, going to show that the Democratic Party are involved in a vast conspiracy to smash things generally. It is said that 1,000 pages of evidence going to prove the existence of this terrible conspiracy has been submitted to Mr. Lincoln, and that a well-known general, once respected, has lent his name to it's hard to read, an issue of nonsensical slander upon members of the Democratic Party. It is no secret that a vast system of espionage has been organized all over the North, and proofs will soon be forthcoming that the mails are regularly tampered with to find evidence, if possible, against persons who are inimical to the administration. So it's clearly stated that the Democratic Party is the issue here at that time, since 1864.
Sure.
And since the Constitution
Yeah, it was.
makes no reference to a democracy, and since the democracy was involved in a coup, as it just said, which would be treason against the United States, this is evidence that the Democratic Party is treasonous
But I thought we wasn't the United States. I thought we was Morocco. Contradictions.
and unconstitutional. So how can you state that? How can you state that I'm mixing arguments when the history proves that democracy is unconstitutional?
Okay, so I'll take your question in turn. As far as you're conflating issues, right? The Democratic Party and the democracy are two separate things, right? The Democratic Party is just a party in a political party, right? There's a Green Party. There's
In
all
a
these.
duplex system that's unconstitutional, yes.
There's the
We
Green
get
Party.
it.
There's the Republican Party. The Republic and the Republican Party are not the same thing. The Democratic Party and the democracy are also not the same thing. And none of these things are relevant to the
Dude, you don't have a fucking argument.
issue of whether or not the case that you cited, Bud versus State or Bud versus New
If we're
York.
talking about the government, which government are we talking about? Are we talking about the government that's authorized by the Constitution? Or are we talking about the people that overthrew the Union? So which one are we talking about?
Yes, I gotta pee again, because I'm annoyed. Dumb idiots in the room. None of this shit makes no fucking sense what they say. Nothing. Yes, I'm drying my hands. Wash your hands, people. Wash your hands. I done seen too many scary things with people not washing their hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. But no, none of this is making any. words, but nothing but wordplay with these dudes, man. It's the most annoying thing.
But that's not the argument that you were making when you were citing to Bud versus State or Bud versus New York.
Well, so
You were
in
saying-
Bud versus New York, I was using your thought pattern because you stated I couldn't use that
Right.
in my argument because it didn't mention certain words. So now
Right,
I'm
it didn't
stating
deal
to
with
you-
the issue. Yeah.
So now I'm stating to you, based on your argument, based on what you told me,
Mhm.
that since the Constitution doesn't make the argument of a democracy or a Democratic Party or anything like that in reference to a du ploi system or a du ploi government, it is unconstitutional based on your arguments,
No.
based on your reasonings.
No.
It's cool, man. I just had to go to the bathroom myself. And you said these idiots don't understand that statute and code can carry the force of law, and because of that, it's basically amounts of the same thing. And yes, statutes and legislations are just law created by It makes you wonder if they went to history class, and economics class, and stuff like that, social studies. I never got a failing grade in social studies. These fools probably smoking all kind of crap over in when they went to social studies classes back in the day. I don't know.
I disagree. I disagree, and I'll tell you why I disagree. I disagree because, first of all, the rules of statutory construction and that have to do with interpreting case law are not related to the formation of the government. Those are two different things, two completely different issues that don't relate to each other whatsoever.
Exactly.
Now, as far as the formation of the government is concerned, there is no party which is mentioned in the Constitution. That doesn't mean that all of these other parties, like the Democratic Socialist Party, the Socialist Party, the Communist Party, there is still a Communist Party in the United States, surprisingly,
Unfortunately.
right? None of those parties, the independents, are mentioned in the Constitution. It doesn't make them per se unconstitutional because the Constitution does
Black
not
Panther Party.
basically form political parties. Those political parties are they form of their own and they have their own rules and they're allowed to operate. And really, the government can't get involved in like how those parties basically form and operate because it's like a.
What was this? Honestly, back in school, I did pretty well in social studies class as well as civics. But in high school, my first government class, I got to see and really didn't enjoy it. Yeah. Honestly, it's because you kind of learn the same old thing. And plus, they don't teach the actual full history of the United States. But they basically teach... It's just like I learned... It's just like I learned in life. Unless you're going into that field of history, the only thing you really need is to learn how to read. And in math, like I'm learning in math. You just need just a little bit of basic algebra, just know a bit of decimals. But most of the time, you're gonna be just doing adding, subtracting, and multiplying. That's it. A lot of other stuff we learn just goes out the door, kind of, unless you go into those certain fields.
Free speech thing.
So I understand that.
Now, as far as
That's not my argument. Isn't about free speech. My argument is about
I know,
democracy.
no, I know, and I get that your argument is
You can't tell the difference between a Democratic Party and democracy. Be quiet.
I appreciate your argument because, like I said, it is creative, but it is incorrect as far as evaluating whether or not Bud versus New York applies to the issue of the right to travel, because Bud versus New York does not deal with the right to travel. So when you want to cite, here's the thing. You guys can do whatever you want to do. I want to make it very, very clear. I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I'm just saying that this is what it is when anyone, no matter who they are, goes
Fair
to court.
use.
If you want to cite to a case, all you have to do is just find a case that deals with your issue. If the issue is about driving a car, right? About traffic court, then you have to get a case that deals with traffic court, that deals with that issue.
So using that, what you're saying,
Yeah.
since the Constitution doesn't deal with
History is not the same as yeah. That's more of civics, I believe. With the legislative, executive, judicial branches and American government functions, like you said, and the history of all those things. I believe that's more civics, applied civics and things like that. It's not necessarily social studies gives more of a like a brief history, and not the deep history, which the Moors used to their advantage to dislead black people. You know, because they'll use that term that oh, did you really see this about black this and that and the slave trade and all that, when in reality, when you really dig deep into the history of America, this was the worst place Africans could have been sent as a slave. That's why we're called the loneliest of us African Americans are called the loneliest Africans away from home. I can't say that about myself, so not anymore, because I'm home now. But the Moors will use that to their advantage. It's like she says, they like to cherry pick from certain histories and blend it together and make their own thing, because it's in their nature as who they really are, African Americans, because we had to create culture. We had to take what little culture we could hang on to during slavery, then post-slavery, survive and build more culture. And then as time went on, we started picking from different forms of African culture to create our own African culture. Just basically, it's just in African Americans' true culture, our culture is just an Americanized versions of like traditional African dances. I'm not talking about twerking and nothing like that. I'm talking about like in Kwanzaa, they'll do like the festival dance of the Zulu, but we'll be citing the words in Swahili. And all that got pretty much screwed up when other people started to celebrate Kwanzaa that wasn't African Americans, and also with the rise of, unfortunately, even though I loved old school versions of it, with the rise of gangster rap, unfortunately. And now, only a third of us really, barely at that, even practice our created from nothing traditional African cultures. And now we got all kind of stupid stuff running around. But that's our history. But the Moors will do that, but in the opposite. They cherry picking from somebody else's culture and then switching it around and have no idea. This is why they will not take this nonsense. This is why people like Sabir have only gone as far as Morocco or Spain. Because if you truly take this Islam prophecy Quran to Mecca, you're going to have some problems. Them jihads and Muslims out there ain't playing no games with somebody disrespecting what Islam really is. That's why they not there. That's why they're not there. They're not there. They can't do it. They know they run under this whole like Cujo making threats to people, talk about, well, I'll pull up with gas and okay, then go pull that bullshit with the fucking Muslims in Arabia then, where Islam is from. Let's see how that bullshit flies. See how that flies. You're not gonna do it. Because you already know what's gonna happen when you present that Circle 7 Quran to them. They're gonna either make you become a real Muslim or they're gonna kill you.
The issue of democracy or Democratic Party, right? Forget the party argument, because that's not even
Because when you say Democratic Party, that doesn't have anything to do with democracy.
And if you don't believe me, go ask Truth Science 151. Ask him, because he's an actual Muslim. He'll tell you. They're not gonna play that in no real Islam.
That those are two different things.
Alone, that democracy is unconstitutional, based on exactly what you just said.
No, because this is not what I'm saying. I am not saying that because Bud versus New York doesn't mention driving or traffic or the right to travel or the right to drive, that the right to travel does not exist just because that case doesn't deal with it. Just because, hold on, let me finish my thought. I didn't say you said that. I'm giving you an analogy. Just because the Constitution does not say Democratic Party does not mean that Democratic parties are not constitutional. It doesn't mean that democracy is unconstitutional, right? None of that.
Yeah, because nobody talks about the East African slave trade. In the East African slave trade, I was just studying it earlier before I came across that Cujo used my video again. So yeah, but yeah, I always study. I've been studying it for the last couple months now. They snatched so many ancient traditional Egyptians, indigenous Egyptians, indigenous Ethiopians. They snatched so many Kenyan people, people from Somalia, all those people. They took them to Asia. That's all that we know of the slave trade here. But they will not talk about how in the late 1600s and 1700s they started the East African slave trade started coming to America. But they won't acknowledge that. And they use that to their advantage. I'm telling you. They're not practicing truth and righteousness. It's all deception. The whole movement is deception.
Unconstitutional because I think.
Yes.
Confusion.
Yes. Okay.
And no, I'm gonna be real. And this is why I've grown to say, you know what, this whole demanding reparations and everything, nobody's gonna give you that because you don't deserve it. Since when did a king? Okay, so the brother, so many kings in Africa. They became king not because they were doing it by birthright. So many kings that were granted their kingship and birthright died very quickly because they were weak. Kings like Shaka Zulu took the throne, and they ruled for so many years because they had to earn what they had to earn their birthright. Like in Shaka's case, he wasn't given his birthright; he had to earn it, but he earned it through the battlefield. And in true African traditions, the strongest warrior, not always the smartest or the most brilliant or political democracy. No, usually it was always the strongest warrior that became the king because he had to earn the right to prove he was the best warrior, and that can prove that he can lead you into battle and everything. Then he would choose people to help him because he doesn't have, if he's not as brilliant, he can have a prime minister here, a coordinator here, blah blah blah, to help him rule wisely. And that's the concept that I've begun to adopt. Nah, this whole the white man. Listen, you want to prove you truly deserve what we've lost in slavery? Get it. I don't want to hear that shit no more because there we go. Actually, it's becoming detrimental to our cause to get what we have lost over the time of slavery. So I don't believe this reparation stuff. No, I agree with what Kevin Samuel says. Kevin Samuel's the Godfather. You can't compete. That's why you sit over here demanding reparations. You can't compete. And we know we've got circumstances against us. That's why we have to rise to the challenge. No.
Just because something's not mentioned in the Constitution doesn't mean that it's unconstitutional.
And one more thing, that's what happened with me. How do you think I got to Ethiopia? I went through so many challenges for the last 4.5 years trying to come to Africa. Instead of crying to get back home, I rose to the damn challenge. After so many years of pain, I decided I've had enough and I rose to the challenge. Here I am today in the motherland. So I don't want to hear that shit. They just want to take what doesn't belong to them and what they don't earn. That's why they don't have it. Hold on, y'all. That's the wifey.
Here is what unconstitutional means. It means that it either violates one of the protected rights that are enumerated in the Constitution, or the right to privacy, which isn't really enumerated, but is recognized by interpretation of the Constitution by the Supreme Court, or violates one of the amendments in the Constitution, or if there is a law that is put down by the Constitution, like the impeachment law, for example, the impeachment procedure, and doesn't follow along with that law, then that is in violation of the Constitution. So it's basically...
Yes, sir. Ivory Coast as well.
The executive branch exercising judicial powers be unconstitutional?
The executive branch is given the right to... So like the executive branches of every single state, for example, they are given the right to form administrative bodies, right? And within those administrative bodies, they can come up under the Constitution. They can form their own quasi
breaking this
that
stuff down,
executive
and they
branch
can't
of
take
government
it.
has the right. So for example, if the executive branch, like the governor or whatever of a state, decides, or the legislative branch decides to form a motor vehicle association, right? And in forming that motor vehicle association DMV, they then put a hearing body in place.
Shit. Yo, I'm gonna do a part 2 to this, alright? 51 minutes and 55 seconds. My bad, because the wifey, she's on her way. So, stay tuned. I'll do another part 2 to this tonight, alright? Peace out. I'm getting ready. I gotta put my draw, wash up real quick. Okay, where we do this.